What's good, everybody? It's your boy DQ, and we're back on another video. Today we're talking about Texas as a whole. This is Texas season preview. Before I start, first of all, happy Halloween. Second of all, like, comment, subscribe so you can see all the other videos that I'm going to do and have already done. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. Let's talk about Texas women's basketball. Let's talk about Rori Harmon. Let's talk about Madison Booker. Let's talk about Aaliyah Crump. Let's talk about Brad Cunningham. Let's talk about Kyla Oldacre. Let's talk about everybody. I don't know about everybody, but let's get straight into it. They are ranked 4th currently as we stand before the season, or ranked 4th in the preseason polls, which some people had an issue with. I don't really have an issue with. I think they're a top 4 team in the country on paper coming into the season. Again, coming into the season, the rankings really don't matter. The rankings won't matter until March, and even then, they still don't matter. The best team should win at the end of the day. Like, yes, you might get an unfair shake in terms of where you were seated, but if you're the best team, you can beat anybody. But that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about Texas. Madison Booker, Rori Harmon. There are some things that I want to see from both of them. I'm going to start with Rori Harmon because this is her senior year. This is her last year. I want to see her be more aggressive. Obviously, you want her to shoot the ball a little bit better from the outside, but I just want to see her more aggressive, more confident in her body. And that's going to sound crazy, but I mean like in her knee. Like, she had an ACL injury a couple seasons ago. Last year she came back, and it feels like the injury is not necessarily like a physical, like the getting over the injury is not necessarily a physical more than it is mental. Maybe it's a little bit of both. I could be wrong. I don't know her personally, so I'm not going to say like it's one or the other. But I feel like that mental hurdle she could potentially be past now. I believe I saw in the exhibition game that she didn't wear the knee brace, which a lot of people that tear the ACL hate wearing that knee brace, and some continue to wear it, some don't. So I'm very curious to see if that changes and if she's going to play without it or if she's going to play with it, because I think that is a sign of her being more confident in her ability to move the way she wants. I feel the same way about Raven Johnson, of like, the way that both of them moved and the way that both of them played before their injury versus now. Granted, they're still great players. They're still elite players, elite guards in the country. But they were so much faster, so much more confident in their abilities before the injury. And now after, you can see where, like, a few years ago, they would have made a move or they would have made a certain play without thinking. But now, sometimes it feels like they second-guess things, whether it be the coaching, like this is the play that we have to run, or just not trusting yourself enough to make those plays. So I want to see her be more aggressive. I want to see her obviously shoot the ball better. And I think if she can do those things, she's going to be a top pick in the draft, and she's going to have a great WNBA career, in my opinion, because I think she can be a really good point guard on both ends of the floor. She's one of the fastest guards in the country, even with the injury. She's a good passer. She can get to the rim at will, and that's the crazy part, is like she's still able to get to the rim at a really good rate, but I feel like she's not as aggressive as she could be. And then obviously the jump shot, if the jump shot is there, it makes her more difficult to guard. It makes it easier for her to get to the rim because then they have to step out, respect the jump shot, and then she has the better chance of going by them. For Madison Booker, I love her game. I think she's a phenomenal scorer. I think she's shown in her first 2 seasons that she's one of the top scorers in the country. The only thing that I ask for her is to just find ways to get easier shots, find ways to get shots that are not always in rhythm, but 90% of the time are in rhythm. And that's not to say like, oh, she can't, dribble into her, shots and things like that. I feel like at times, especially in games against South Carolina last year, where it felt like she was taking the game personal and she was trying to do things that either made it more difficult for her to score or just wasn't something that she should be trying to do against the South Carolina team specifically. Even one of the games against LSU, she didn't shoot well. Like, she shot 3 of 19, 7 of 22. That game she had 20 and 11, 4 of 13, and 5 of 11 in 24 minutes in 4 games against South Carolina last year. First, LSU, she shot 3 of 17 in the first matchup. The second time they played, which was in the SEC tournament, she was 10 of 19. So I just want to see her be more confident, more mindful of the shot she takes, understanding like time and situation. Like, yes, there's a lot of times where it's like, okay, we need to score here. We need to get the ball to Madison Booker. But there's a way to get her a good look that's still good for the rest of the team. And she's a player that has a height advantage on a lot of the players that are going to try to guard her. She has the ability to elevate and rise over the top of people and just shoot the jumper and not really be affected. But sometimes that can be a hindrance of like you're trying to do that too often instead of making sure that she's playing in motion and coming off of screens and coming off of pin downs and getting an open look to get her really going. And then that's when she can get to the rim and get to the free throw line, shoot threes, all these other things. The things for them, the big thing for them is I want them to be great in the big games. That's really what Texas needs the most, because they're going to be really good on a night in, night out basis. But the biggest games of the season, the games that are against the top teams, the games that are in March, those are the games where you need them to be great every night, or every time they have that opportunity against those kinds of teams. In every game in March, they need to be great. And it's not to say like they are the only reason that they'll win. Like, there's other pieces that I'll talk about soon, but those are the two main pieces. Like, when your best players play at a high level, the players around you will step up. Like, we've seen it time and time again. Last year, Paige, AZ, Sarah Strong all played phenomenally, so the players around them stepped up. Ashlyn Shea made big shots. Caitlin Chen made big plays. KK Arnold was hitting crossovers and talking trash. Like, when your best player or your best players are playing really well and they're playing with great confidence, it gives confidence to the rest of the team. We've seen it with Caitlin Clark. People said Iowa wasn't very talented on paper. In terms of on paper, they weren't a very talented team, but we saw what her confidence and what her gravity did to that team, where they were able to get to multiple Final Fours and national championship. The same thing can be done with Rori Harmon and Madison Booker. If they're playing at a high level, the rest of the team is going to play at a high level, and in turn, you're going to have the best chance to win a national championship. But that is not to say that I don't believe they can do it, or they absolutely have to do it. I think they can still find ways to win, even if they're not phenomenal in the big games. And that's not to say that they haven't been great in big games, because they have. Like, they literally have had many, many games where they've been really good in big-time situations. I just want to see it more consistently, and obviously you want to see it in March, because if they do it in March, then they win a championship. I think the players around them this year are going to be really good. I like what I've seen from Brea Cunningham. Obviously, Kyla Oldacre is one of the anchors down in the post. So you have both of them. You can play them at the same time. You can play them at different times, and you always have someone down there anchoring the post, both on offense and defense. I like what I saw from Breonna Preston last year. She's super fast, is able to pick up the pace, and if Rori Harmon is back to Rori Harmon before the injury, where she's able to use really able to use her speed to her advantage, having both of them either on the court or one of them on the court at all times is a huge, huge benefit for Texas, especially when they're a team that wants to play great defense, and you would probably like for them to get more transition points, fast break points, because I don't want to say they're not a great half-court team, but the half-court, it gets a little slower and it gets a little more clunky in a way. I don't know if that's the proper word that I want to use, but it looks more difficult in the half court for them to score. So getting out in transition is a big key for that, but also a big key to scoring in the half court is having shot makers, having people that can shoot the ball at a high level. Aaliyah Crump and Jordan Lee, both of those players can do that. Aaliyah Crump is a freshman coming in out of Minnesota. She is a phenomenal scorer, can score off the dribble, a great defender as well, reads the passing lanes well, is a smart defender, doesn't just jump in passing lanes for no reason. Like, she's good in transition as well. She finishes through contact, really good shooter, like I said. And then obviously you have Jordan Lee, who we saw last year, pretty good shooter, has a good confidence about her, always plays in rhythm, doesn't take shots that are bad, or I don't want to say shots that are bad, shots that are out of the offense or shots that are out of her skill set. And I also love what I've seen from Justice Carlton. And Vic Schaefer talked about her. He said that out of Breonna Preston, Jordan Lee, and Justice Carlton, she is taking the biggest leap from the end of the season to now, which I think is amazing, because she had really high stretches last year where she looked really, really good. And I liked what I saw from her in high school. I liked what I saw from her last year. So I think she can be a huge, huge piece for them, especially when we talk about these big games. You need players that are always going to play hard and are always going to, I don't want to say do the dirty work, but they're always going to fight for an extra rebound and try to make sure that they gain extra possessions for their team. and then when they gain extra possessions for their team, they capitalize on them. And she's one of those players that like can get offensive rebound, get an and one. She's a player that can get the ball on a roll and finish and one. Like all those things that people don't really think about is like, oh yeah, like and ones are big. Like and ones are literally 3-pointers just in a different way, in a different facet, especially if you knock down the free throw. But it's like a lot of times we see teams or players get fouled and they don't finish the shot, and now they get 2 free throws. Maybe they make 1. If you make at least, even if you just make the layup and not the free throw, you still make 2 points and you still give your team a chance to get an offensive rebound on the free throw. So I love what I've seen from Justice Carlson. I think she's gonna have a big season as well. I think the offense will look more fluid this year with more players that are capable of doing multiple things. I think something that Texas has gotten into the last couple of years is having players be in like specific roles, and that's really all they were there for. I think this year they have more players that can do multiple things, and that's always a really big thing to have when you're playing in the SEC, when you're playing the top teams like UConn, UCLA, and USC, and Oklahoma. When you're trying to win a championship, you need players that can do multiple things on the court. You can't just have one player out there, or you can't have players out there that are only good at one thing, or they only affect the game in one way. Like, oh, this is a shooter, this is a defender, but this shooter can't defend and can't create, and this defender can't shoot and can't create. So it's like you need players that can do all those things, and when you have more players that are versatile and are able to do different things, it makes you harder to guard, and it makes the entire team harder to guard, and in turn it makes Rori Harmon and Madison Booker harder to guard, which I think is what they should be focused on. It's like make the game easier for Rori Harmon and Madison Booker, and then in turn the game gets easier for everyone around them. Really the biggest thing for them that I wrote down was easier ways to score. Not just for Madison Booker, not just for Rori Harmon, but for everyone. Easier ways to score. Make the half court game a little bit easier, make it less feel like, I don't want to say like complex, but it just seemed like at times last year and even the year before that, it looks like the half court is just like a real struggle. They got to get to a point where the offense is easy. Half court offense is nothing that they're really worried about. They don't have to be one of the top scoring teams in the country, but it's like you want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence on offense, in the half court offense, I should say. Because I feel like they're going to be great in transition. They're going to be great in the fast break because Madison Booker runs really well. Rori Harmon runs really well. So does Jordan Lee, Brianna Preston, even Aaliyah Crump. They all run really well. So they're going to be able to get out in transition and score. But it's about that half-court offense. The half-court offense is what will win you a championship. It's what we saw from UConn last year. Yes, they got out in transition and won. Or that was a big key for them. But they also were great in the half-court offense. And that's what helped them. South Carolina struggled a bit in half-court offense, and they ended up not winning. So half-court offense is just as important as getting out in transition, getting easy layups, and defending at a high level. Like you can defend at an elite level, but if you can't score enough, it won't matter. So there has to be a bit of a balance between the elite defense and the offense matching that. And if they can do that, they have a great chance of winning a national championship. But with all that being said, super excited for the season. Super excited to watch Texas play basketball this season. I have high hopes for Rori Harmon, Madison Booker, Aaliyah Crump, every player. I'm not gonna keep going through all the players over and over again, but I have really high expectations. Good Lord, I have really high expectations for this team, and I really hope that they're able to reach those because this is a team that, for the most part, is kind of new, but it's also that culture that they've built. They deserve to have like that culmination, even if it's like not necessarily with the Shaylee Gonzalez's and the Shea Hollies of the world. They still deserve to have that so that those players can come back and be like, okay, all the work we put in wasn't for nothing. You know what I mean? So let's see how that goes. I'm hopeful, but make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe so you can come back for the next one and see the past ones. Like I said earlier, got a lot of women's basketball content coming to start the season. It's only Friday. It's Halloween. Like I said, it's Friday. I'm going to put some more stuff out over the weekend and make sure we are going into the season starter on Monday prepared as can be There's also videos already out, like UConn, South Carolina, LSU, UCLA. There's player-centric videos like Michaela Blake's, Peyton Verhulst, Sailor Poffenbarger, Gianna Neepkins. The list goes on and on. Make sure you guys are tuning in, or make sure you guys are tapping in with that, and thank you guys for tuning in.